Chapter 1. Shadows and Sunstone. The Sunflower's Magic. The butterflies, hundreds of them, perhaps thousands, exploded into existence, a kaleidoscope of iridescent wings shimmering in the fading sunlight. They weren't ordinary butterflies, their wings seemed woven from moonlight and dawn, the colors shifting and swirling, reflecting the very essence of the opposing magics that had birthed them. They danced in the air, a mesmerizing spectacle that filled the chamber, their delicate wings brushing against Gia and Lysander alike. It was as if the very air itself had become alive, a vibrant testament to the unexpected harmony emerging from the clash of their worlds. Gia felt a tremor, not of fear this time, but of something else entirely, awe, perhaps, or wonder. The Obsidian Shard, usually a source of cold, hard power, thrummed against her chest, resonating with the gentle energy of the sunflowers and the vibrant chaos of the butterflies. It was a strange sensation, a dissonant harmony that challenged everything she had ever known. The shard's usual icy grip felt strangely softened, as if the sunflower's magic was slowly but surely eroding its rigid hold. The dark, obsidian energy pulsed, reacting not with aggression but with a curious, almost hesitant acceptance of the light. Lysander, his eyes wide with astonishment, mirrored her wonder. The rigid lines of his face softened further, replaced by a look of profound amazement. The centuries-old animosity etched onto his features seemed to melt away, replaced by something akin to hope. The sunflower in his hand, now slightly wilted from the release of its potent magic, still glowed with a faint, internal luminescence. His grip tightened slightly, but there was no fear in it, only a profound sense of something momentous occurring. The butterflies continued their ethereal dance, their fragile wings a living tapestry of hope and reconciliation. They swirled around them, creating a shimmering vortex of color that seemed to momentarily distort the very fabric of reality. Gia felt a strange pull, a sensation of being drawn into this vortex, into a space where the boundaries between their worlds blurred, where ancient hatred seemed to dissolve into a haze of magical wonder. Lysander took another tentative step closer, his eyes locked on hers. He hadn't spoken since offering the sunflower, but his gaze conveyed a depth of emotion that words could not express. There was a raw vulnerability in his eyes, a vulnerability that mirrored her own burgeoning emotions. The centuries of conflict, the ingrained hatred, all of it seemed to shrink in the face of this extraordinary moment. Time seemed to slow, or perhaps it was merely the intensity of the experience that distorted her perception of its passage. The butterflies danced on, their flight a mesmerizing ballet of color and light, their very existence a testament to the shifting currents of magic, and, perhaps, destiny. The scent of sunflowers, sweet and intoxicating, filled the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of the ancient stones of the fortress, creating a unique fragrance that captured the essence of this extraordinary moment. A low hum resonated through the air, a subtle vibration that seemed to emanate from the interaction of the sunflower's magic and the obsidian shard. Gia felt it deep within her bones, a vibration that resonated with the throbbing of her heart. It was a primal connection, a tangible link between her and Lysander, that transcended the chasm of centuries-old conflict. The hum seemed to build in intensity, creating a pulsating rhythm that matched the frantic beating of her heart. Then, as suddenly as it began, the magical display subsided. The butterflies, their task completed, dissolved into shimmering motes of light, leaving behind an air thick with wonder and anticipation. The hum faded, replaced by a profound silence, a silence that was far more powerful and resonant than any noise could have been. The silence held the weight of unspoken possibilities, of a future unwritten but suddenly brimming with hopeful potential. Lysander's hand, still holding the now significantly wilted sunflower, reached out again, his fingers brushing against Gia's. This time, there was no hesitation, no uncertainty. The touch was gentle, almost reverent, as if he was handling something incredibly precious and fragile. It was a touch that spoke volumes, a touch that transcended words and conveyed the unspoken understanding that had blossomed between them amidst the magical spectacle. A wave of warmth surged between them, stronger than before, an almost tangible current of energy that flowed between their fingertips. It was a feeling of connection, of shared destiny, a feeling that was both exhilarating and terrifying in its intensity. Gia gasped, not from pain, but from the sheer power of this connection, this unspoken link that bound them together. It was a bond formed not of blood or loyalty, but of magic, of shared experience, of a shared understanding that transcended the long history of conflict between their kingdoms. Lysander's eyes, reflecting the golden light of the setting sun, held a depth of emotion that left Gia breathless. They were the eyes of a man who had seen the horrors of war, but who also held onto a flicker of hope, a hope that had been reignited by this extraordinary encounter. It was a hope that mirrored her own. The ancient animosity felt distant, a fading echo in the face of this newly forged connection. For a long moment, they simply stood there, their fingers intertwined, sharing a silent understanding. The magical display had ceased, but the after-effects remained, palpable in the air, vibrant in their shared gaze. The air vibrated with an unspoken promise, a promise of a future where the ancient hatred might finally give way to a new understanding, a future where hope could blossom even in the most unlikely of places. The sunflower, though withered, still held a faint, internal glow, a symbol of the enduring power of hope, of the potential for peace to blossom even amidst centuries of conflict. The Obsidian Shard, once a symbol of Gia's unwavering loyalty to the Nightshade coven, now felt strangely muted, its sharp edges blunted by the warmth of the newly formed connection. The ancient power it held felt almost insignificant compared to the weight of this shared moment, this profound connection between two souls bound together by magic, destiny, and the fragile beauty of a single sunflower. The setting sun cast long shadows across the chamber, creating an atmosphere of both intimacy and mystery. Gia knew, with an unshakable certainty, that this was a turning point. Their destinies, once on a collision course, now seemed inexplicably intertwined. The sunflower's magic, a seemingly insignificant gesture of peace, had unleashed a wave of change, a shift in the magical balance that reflected a deeper, more profound shift in their hearts. The war between their kingdoms would undoubtedly continue, but in this quiet chamber, bathed in the fading sunlight, a new chapter had begun. A chapter that promised a future of hope, a future where love might indeed blossom even amidst the darkness. The ancient hatreds might linger, but a seed of hope had been planted, and it was already beginning to grow. And with that growing hope, a new possibility bloomed, the possibility of a love that transcended all boundaries, a love that dared to defy centuries of conflict and hatred, a love that might just save them both.